Yeah, thank you guys for staying. I appreciate that. We obviously talked a little bit in the locker room, but I appreciate you guys sticking around. I know there's a big game on tonight, so. But no, just obviously, we couldn't really get in any rhythm offensively. I was really happy with our defense in the first half. I mean, to hold them to 15 and 12. Really, even in the third to 17. I thought that this team, I thought Maryland was really, we had an opportunity to get them tonight, and just, couldn't get over that hump. Had it tied, I think, at one point. It was tied 3 times, and just couldn't get the stops or the scores, and just really struggled shooting. Obviously, 31% from the field and only 23% from the 3-point line. It's just it's not what we wanted, but we got to continue to get better at that. We got out rebounded, and I just thought there was plays in the fourth where it was consecutive rebounds, and we got to be better. We got to fight harder. We got to be more disciplined in those moments, and just with greater fight and competitiveness in order to win these games.
Just for either one of the players, like Coach was mentioning, just what kind of had you out of your rhythm offensively? What led to that, I guess?
Sometimes shots just not going to fall. I feel like we was getting pretty good looks, got a lot of layups, close to the basket, open shots, just wasn't falling. And I feel like when that happened, like, we got to be that more intentional, trying to get to the free throw line and trying to manufacture points there.
For Camille, the 2 games against Maryland have been some of your best games this season. What's maybe this match has maybe favored you, or what have you maybe seen in this game to have those 2 good games against them?
I'm not really too concerned about, how I'm doing. I'm worried about the team. Play to win every single time. Like, that's the bottom line. You have to play to win. So that's that.
For both of you, it was a very physical game today, and to go on Thursday where seemingly everything was being called, to go today where there might have been a few missed calls, how much of a challenge is that as a player on the court?
You just got to be that much more stronger and kind of going off of 2 feet and, like, not expecting the contact or not expecting the call, like, just going and finishing.
For both of you guys, like you said, Genesis, you're taking clean looks and they just don't fall. What's that feeling of frustration that you might get? Can you guys elaborate on how you feel after you're taking those really good shots and they just don't go in the basket?
I mean, we practice our shots so many times, so it definitely is a frustration feeling. But, I mean, you just got to move on. This basketball, it's hard to get the ball in the basket. You got to move on.
Just, does it feel like what's kind of the next step for this team of kind of figuring it out in the next 5 games? Because obviously they're big games for you, a chance to move up in the standings. What do you kind of look at this finishing stretch as an opportunity for your team?
Just like you said, an opportunity. And I feel like tomorrow we're off, so everyone just take a day and do whatever you got to do. And now it's really time to just finish strong, because everybody talk about it's not how you start, but it's how you finish. So we got some big opportunities coming up on the road, back at home. So we're not giving up. We haven't checked out. We ready to fight. We ready to come back.
Camille, just this, what you've been able to do, getting more comfortable, feeling like you from transferring in. What's that process been kind of like for you, and what's the second half of the season? Do you feel like you're finding your comfort zone in your role of what the expectations are with this team?
I think that, like I've said before, like, I'm not really too focused on myself. I'm playing to win with my teammates, and that's the biggest thing, is winning. And right now tonight, we didn't get that done. So obviously there's more opportunity, like Jen said, that for us to get better and take a step forward. So it's opportunity.
For both of you, what does the play for K-Game mean to you, just both individually?
It's special. It's really important. There's a lot of people who are affected by breast cancer and cancer in general. So to have an opportunity where it's totally dedicated to that, it's special, and it means a lot to so many people.
Yeah, I would say it means a lot, because you're playing for a big cause, and cancer it's a tough thing, and a lot of people are affected by it. So just praying for the survivors and even the fighters. And yeah, so it's a big game.
Anything else for student athletes?
See you later, Coach.
Enjoy your day off.
Just playing off the question I was asking Camille just about these two matchups against Maryland maybe being her best two games. What do you feel like? Is there something about this matchup that's maybe favored her, or what have you maybe seen from her in those two games?
Yeah, it's interesting because how they play, they make it really tough to get entries in there. So it's kind of impressive that she's had 18 and 16 against them because they do a really good job. They're not that big, but they front and they really try to pack it in. So she made some really big plays and some really hard finishes and catches and finishes. But, we know because of their fronts and because of their three-quarter, abling to get rolling seals and positioning and drive them up the lane so we can get some of those passes over top. I thought she does a really good job with that and utilizing her body to get those seals. And she could have had more. We had some bad passes to her, too. Otherwise, she probably could have scored more. So just taking advantage of how they play the post inside.
There were maybe two plays inbound plays under the basket where you guys couldn't get the ball in or turn the ball over. What was behind that, and what do you need to fix from those inbound plays?
We got to throw it further over. I mean, we ran 3 different plays and had 3 turnovers, and that can't happen. It's absolutely unacceptable. You need to throw that over top. You cannot throw that pass short. And we'll look at as a staff as well. It cannot happen. And that was a huge point in the game. I think it was maybe a 1-point game. You can't turn the ball over on baseline out of bounds. You got to get the ball in. And I was extremely frustrated and not happy at all about that. It cannot happen.
Coach, there are a few times where the women struggled to get back on defense, and Maryland ended up getting to the rim pretty quickly to score. Why do you felt like that might have been a challenge to get back on defense or slow things down?
I wish I knew. You're right. You're right. It's made baskets, and we get beat back. It's another one I'm going to say it cannot happen. And we got to sprint back. You got to understand that Briggs was running out on that. And we would score, but then they come right back on a counter and make a layup, and those are just deflating. You're trying to get in the game, or we're in the game, and it was when it was a tight game. So that is, that's our defense transition on, we talk about misses, and that's where you got to turn and you got to sprint, and that's effort, and it's discipline to do that.
Just kind of piggybacking off of that, I mean, the game seemed like for the most part it was, 2, 3, 4, 5-point game. That is that maybe the difference? Do you feel like they just, you couldn't get that 1 or 2 key stops that you needed, and maybe they got something out in transition?
Yeah.
Or what did you kind of see from that?
I do think that, we were right there, and you got to dig in and you got to get stops. And when you have those, if they're going to score, it has to be like an earned score. And that's where I say those type of scores and those type of baskets after one thing in defense, D-trans on a miss, it's a hell of a lot harder to get back. But on a made basket, there's no excuses with that. And we got to get back. But those key swings right there, and this could have been a different game. Even, again, not playing well offensively, we still had opportunities, and it's very disappointing. And I told our team this because I really thought that I thought that Maryland and how they were shooting, it was an opportunity that we could have gotten them, and we just came up short on a lot of areas.
8th and 9th, it's looking like a real possibility you guys could see each other in the tournament again. How much, or what can you take away from this game in a possible rematch in the Big Ten tourney?
I mean, there's a lot to learn, and that'll be after I break it down and watch film on it, just like we did the first game. The press was it didn't affect us at all. Actually, kind of, if they pressed us harder last game and we got more baskets on the back end, they really just wanted to make it a half-court game. And with their length and their 3-2, they really clog up the top half of the court, and we couldn't get under that until under the free throw line lane extended. We needed to get the ball down there more, and we didn't. And that's, again, just their size. They're they're small in terms of post players, but they're so long across the board. And we felt it tonight, probably even more so than that first game.
I mean, obviously, McIver's at the top of every scouting report. You know they're going to concentrate on her. What'd you maybe see from her today? And was it maybe just the length that you referred to, or what maybe made the difference for her not getting a rhythm?
They really did a great job of really packing in. I mean, that free throw line in that paint, it was like a wall. I mean, they had that thing secured, and anything that we tried to get in there off initial action, they were doing a good job. And then when Jen is out, with foul, just against a zone team, it really hurts us. And that's where, I put her back in, and that's a risk, but I'm like, that hurt us. It's an excuse. We got to figure it out. But it didn't help us any having Jen on the bench for that long against a team that really packs it in, and you got to have some players that can spread it. So, and then KB hasn't practiced in 2 days. She's been sick. And you could tell she wasn't, God love her. She tried, she played her butt off. But it's hard when you've been sick too. So, and haven't been up and down. So those are, there's just a lot of different factors. And then Jen in foul trouble. Again, it's basketball is part of the game. We gotta learn how to get through those, even with a lot of, adversity thrown your way.
Coach, going into Penn State, they're coming off a 3-game losing streak. What can you maybe anticipate for that game on Thursday?
They're really good. I've said that all year. I think they were like us last year, kind of that team that surprised everyone. They've dealt with a couple injuries too as of late. That's kind of, I think they're getting used to playing together. And they've had a tough stretch in terms of who they're playing as well. But we got to be able to handle pressure because they're coming at you for 40 minutes with full court pressure, super aggressive in the half court with switching and zone, and they're switching it up all the time of what they're throwing at you. And they have some elite scorers. The difference between last year and this year, they got some elite scorers this year, along with McKenna, who's been there. So it's going to be really tough, and I think they've only lost like once or twice at home too. So, but you know what? We've been actually playing. Take the Purdue game out. We've actually probably been playing better on the road this year than we have at home. So I'm going to take that positive nugget and let that fuel me going into this 2-day prep.
Just what Maryland's able to do with their guards and rebounding, how much of a difference maker was that for them tonight to be able to get on the boards like they were able to?
You're right, Joe, because I felt like it was a lot of their guards. They were flying in, and we weren't getting some of those box outs, and they were the ones coming up with it. You have Sellers get 11 rebounds. Jakia had 10, and then Bree had 7. I mean, it's hard, and they're flying in. We didn't do a good job of being fundamental in our box outs, and then again, their size. Their size is just, now I know coming into this league, I know why Brenda, I think she doesn't ever recruit anyone 5'11" or under. And you can see with their teams and why they've had sustained success. That size, it matters. Did Penn State lose today? Wow. Sorry, guys, I just saw that. Thanks for the update. That's what you meant on your. Oh, they're really going to want to kick our ass, then, aren't they? Thank you for telling me that. Thanks for reminding me.
Just Hobby getting
Wow.
her first double-double of her career. I know she's come a couple of rebounds short a couple of times this season, but I guess how do you think she can kind of build on today's performance after finally getting over that hump?
Yeah, I mean, she played, she did a lot of really good things today. And you're used to Kendall still got 8. You're used to her getting, 10 plus. But Hobby's been really big for us lately, and she's doing a great job of continuing to get better. But, yeah, if she can continue to get double-doubles, and now we get KB back to feeling, 100%, and she doing her thing, that helps us out a lot, especially on these nights where the ball's not going in. Her being able to rebound, she manufactured some points for us with those rebounds.
Everybody good? Great.
Thank you, guys. I do appreciate you. Thank you.